Again, very interesting things going on. So, one of them was an article that I saw on Kotaku, which, by the way, Kotaku, Polygon, they're absolute trash. I hate those fucking organizations. They're horrendous for games journalism, if you want to even call it that. But this one, it struck my interest. But because it comes from Kotaku, I can't necessarily speak to the validity of it. But it's something that wouldn't surprise me. It's not something. So I've been trying to look for more information on this, and I haven't been able to find a whole lot of information. But there's an RPG publisher who publishes out of China. Apparently, one of the bureaucrats in China determined that it goes against their laws on morality. And so they apparently destroyed all the books. The article says that they burned them. I'm not so sure about that. I'm going to go ahead and post this link in chat if you guys are interested in checking it out. This is the one that I found. Like I said, I don't know. How do you guys feel about this, about governments having overarching power into the realm of morality? Your director has a massive problem with that. That's usually called communism and socialism, and we hate that shit here. We don't support it in any way, shape, or form. When the government tells you what media you can and cannot consume, what your morals are, what morals you're allowed to have, this is a big problem. Now, even if this did occur in the way that the article describes, could it just be like a rogue guy? Like bureaucrat that saw that and just made the decision on his own, and maybe he got spanked for it? Sure, that's possible, right? That's actually even likely if the article is accurate to what they're talking about. But again, chat, how do you guys feel about that? Does that rustle your jimmies a little bit? Government telling you what media you can and can't consume? Like when games are released in other countries, like GTA 5, if I remember, in Germany, was like very, very heavily edited. A lot of games going to Australia, very, very heavily edited, to the point where developers are having to literally release the games significantly later in those countries because they have to go through and censor their shit. The same thing happened with The Witcher 3 in, I don't remember what country it was, but all the nudie scenes, which is like half the fucking game, having to get edited. Art being censored. I have a problem with this. Your director has a major problem with overarching government power taking our content away from us and what we are allowed to consume. This is something that really rustles my jimmies. Handler Booty, his jimmies are mega rustled. That was the first thing I want to talk about, because this is not the first time I've heard about something like this happening. And if we don't stay vigilant and watch on what's going on when it comes to media, these things can happen in other countries that have the freedom of speech, like the United States, which the United States is actually the only country in the world that actually has freedom of speech that is set in a constitution. Only country in the world. But these things can trickle down to us if we don't keep an eye out as consumers of this type of media. They can get to us. This shit can happen here. We have to watch out for it. And we're seeing this with Article 13 happening in the EU right now. Now, your director's not going to talk right now about Article 13 because it's a very complicated piece of legislation. I started looking into it a little bit, and there's information all over the place. So it's not terribly easy to find digestible information on this. So we consulted with some of our attorneys here at Code 3 Industries. We're getting information. I'm gonna do a little spiel on that, but that's a good example of a potential situation where another country's overarching government power is gonna trickle down into other countries. Oh, and Handler Booty already talked about. So let's see, Australia and New Zealand have blacklisted 4chan from their citizens. Yeah, right. 4chan isn't the most wholesome area of the internet, but again, free speech. What you can and can't, consume. We don't support that shit here at the agency. And yes, the EU has passed Article 13. So it like Article 13 is just like a section in the actual law. I don't remember the name of the actual law itself. But like I said, until I get a little bit more information on it, your director Code 3 is not going to be speaking on it. But we will give an official statement about it because it's dangerous. It's absolutely dangerous. Anyways, moving on to probably the biggest gaming related news of the entire week. Ladies and gentlemen, have you guys seen the official trailer for Borderlands 3? Oh my god, I'm freaking out, guys. I am absolutely freaking out. This is probably the biggest news to the director in the gaming world, and I can't even tell you guys how insanely stoked I am. I saw the trailer, and I jizzed in my pants. Guns with legs, we got you, boo. I freaked out. So first of all, when I saw the teaser trailer, right, of the mask, and they're going through all the characters and the aerial shots, that was so tastefully done. That was just so impressive. Got me so stoked. And then 2 days ago on the 28th, they released the official trailer, gameplay trailer, and it just looks phenomenal. We're not going to go through it here. We're not going to watch it and analyze the entire thing because Twitch is getting a little weird with some of their copyright stuff. I don't want to get a fucking ban here. Or whatever the case may be. But, holy shit. The new characters look intense. They look amazing. All the fucking hype. All the fucking hype. The shading, like everyone, like, okay, so we're going to talk about another trash gaming news organization and their opinion on this. But the game looks phenomenal. It does not look the same as Borderlands 2 like some people are saying. In any way, shape, or form. Very nice graphical bump from what I've seen. It looks like it's going to be a significant performance bump on top of that. But new characters, a billion guns, as always. And then a lot of returning characters. What do you guys think about that? Yes, Metroid, the Polygon article. Yes, we're going to be discussing the Polygon article. Fucking Polygon and Kotaku. Trash. Trash is what they are. Fucking hate those people. Anyways. Fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. So the only reason it looks like Borderlands 2 is because it's cel shaded. Exactly. And these are the people that don't play fucking video games, that don't understand that and can't actually catch these differences here. Biggest takeaway is Lilith might have lost her powers. Oh, so there we go. There we go. That's what I want to talk about. There are returning characters. I suspected they were gonna go on a brand new planet with all new characters in a brand new storyline. You're still gonna be a Vault Hunter and whatnot, but I was wrong. A lot of people thought that. A lot of people were wrong. It looks like we're still going to be on Pandora because in that trailer, you can see them panning over areas that we know and we've been to over and over and over again. And at first I was like, maybe not. But the more I thought about it, I was like, you know what? I don't mind another adventure on Pandora if that's the case. Or who knows? Maybe it starts there. Maybe we end up somewhere else. I can't wait to find out. I am so excited. Borderlands is one of my favorite game series in the last decade. Easy. No fucking problem. Multiple planets and worlds, that would be fucking incredible. That would be absolutely incredible. You saw your boy Zero and you're hype as fuck. I liked Zero. I like Zero. But once you start unless you're running him as a melee character, like, he is just too weak. He wasn't well balanced, in my opinion, for end game content like OP runs and whatnot. You just can't run him as a sniper in OP runs. It's a really big year for hype releases. Dude, Handler Booty, you fucking said it right. It absolutely is a massive year for hype releases. So, yes, we have that. And before we get on to the other things here that I wanted to discuss, let's talk about this fucking Polygon article that came out. I'm going to link it because I'm not going to read it to you guys, because I'm pretty sure the majority of you guys can read. It's from Polygon. I hate giving them the clicks because I hate this news organization because they're trash. So everyone has the right to an opinion, right? Everyone has the right to an opinion. That doesn't mean your opinion is valid. Now, your director is not fanboying on Borderlands. I have read plenty of articles that are trashing some aspects of Borderlands that are not good, and I agree with them. This article is written by someone who either doesn't play video games or is just not familiar with Borderlands, because some of the critiques that they have are just so fucking outlandish and so ridiculous, saying that one of the biggest complaints that they brought about, if you could believe it or not, is that it looks like more of the same. First of all, just because it's in the same setting with some of the same characters does not mean it's more of the same. Second of all, in and of itself, more of the same isn't bad. I'll give you an example of where it was done well, and an example where it was done poorly, in my opinion. So an example of where more of the same is done poorly for me personally, and I might get some flack for this, and that's okay because I'm headed to C3I, and if you piss me off, I'll just ban you. Is Far Cry. I played Far Cry 3, fucking loved it. Was the villain Voss one of the best fucking villains ever written and ever voice acted. He was so fucking amazing and intense. I loved Far Cry 3. Then I started playing Far Cry 4. It is the exact same game. Very little to no changes. The exact same fucking game. Now, don't get me wrong, I still enjoyed my time with it because it just felt like an expansion to Far Cry 3. But in my opinion, there wasn't enough new anything. It was boring. And I didn't even bother finishing the game. And I hate to say that because Far Cry is an amazing series. Now, I haven't played the ones like, 5 and Primal and all that. But the jump from Far Cry 3 to Far Cry 4 is an example, in my opinion, of where more of the same was negative. So didn't Far Cry 5 and Primal have the same-ish map layout? I did see that. I did see an article about that. I didn't really look into it because I wasn't terribly interested at the time in Far Cry, but I did see things with like screenshots of like and reused assets is not a negative thing. I mean, the companies have to do this to get the fucking games out, right? But the same map, like just reskin, yes, that's a problem, right? But I don't know. I can't really speak to that. I haven't experienced it myself. Now, an example of where more of the same worked out very well, in my opinion, is the new Tomb Raiders. So Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and Rise of the Tomb Raider, right? I got the last two mixed up, but whatever. So Tomb Raider, Rise, and Shadows. They're largely the same game, same mechanics. They had phenomenal graphical updates in between them. The stories were always good. I liked the first story the best. I thought that was the best, but they were all good. They all built off each other. And everything I didn't like mechanically about the first one, they fixed the majority of it in the second one. And then when the third one came out, they fixed even more, right? But it was largely the same game, same gameplay and whatnot, but it felt fresh and it felt good. I wanted more of that world with minor tweaks, and they killed it. They absolutely killed it with those fucking games. I love the Tomb Raider games, and I can't speak highly enough about them and the developers that pulled that off the way that they did. So for this article to just blanket statement say it looks like more of the same, so I don't like it, it makes you an idiot. And from just the gameplay trailer, you don't know what's going to be the same. I don't know. I don't have the intel. You don't have the intel either. No one does until the game actually comes out. Who knows? It might be a flop. It's possible that Borderlands 3 is going to crash because it's literally going to be a reskin of Borderlands 2, and that would break my heart. However, I doubt it. Knowing that company and those developers, I very highly doubt it because they build on their world so significantly. In Agent Booty, you do have the intel. Excuse me, Handler Booty. I got to get used to saying that now. In Agent Metroid, outrage gets attention. I mean, I guess it does, and it gets people to click on their fucking article, and I just posted it so you guys can get more clicks, and at the end of the day, maybe I shouldn't do that, but I want you guys to actually read this for yourselves and see what I'm talking about. When a person that is not familiar with games, not familiar with the gaming industry, has no idea about a fucking franchise, writes an article just to get a click. Because I don't know that person. I didn't research the person that wrote that article, and I will, to see what they've written about other games and whatnot and other opinion articles that they've thrown out there. But just reading that alone tells me, the director, this is the person that has no idea about the industry, has no idea about the series, and probably doesn't play a whole lot of fucking games, which is one of my major issue with organizations such as Polygon and Kotaku, is they are rife with people that don't really play fucking games, writing opinions on fucking games and all sorts of shit, and it drives me nuts. I do still check those websites, and I do still check for their content. Sometimes they do have good stuff, but very rarely. They put out a lot of trash, and I don't support that. Yo, Kasha, brother, how's it going, man? How's the violence going? The violence is going swimmingly, as always. How are you doing, man? How's your day going? People write about something they don't know about, you get something like Article 13. Yeah, we discussed it very briefly. I'm not going to give an opinion or stand on my soapbox about Article 13 because I haven't researched enough. I'm consulting with Code 3 Industries attorneys right now that are going through and actually looking at it from a professional standpoint until I give my... And then once I get that information back from my legal advisors, I'm going to give an official statement on it. Smoking Deadpool, the one game you're excited for is Halo Infinite. I can't wait for the entire Halo series to come out on PC. We talked about that, I believe, last week or the week before. Your opinion about you want to move out of the country. So I don't know if you've seen it, but so many game reviewers are refusing to finish Sekiro because they feel that it's current year every game should have an easy mode. Yeah, well, you know what? I don't agree with that either. And you know what? That's a separate topic. We could talk about that once we get the broadcast going a little bit more. Dark Souls and Sekiro and what's the other one that was brutal fucking hard? They do have an easy mode, and it's just called learning the mechanics. And I know that sounds really elitist as a gamer, but it's not, and I'll describe that in more detail as we go on with the broadcast. Anyways, now, two more things. One thing is not terribly gaming related, but it is nerd culture related. Who here in chat, out of all you guys, who here in chat has grown up with the books Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark? I have. I loved those. As a little director, as a little tiny baby type director, I loved those, and I'm a huge, massive fan of horror. Your director loves horror. Guillermo del Toro is the one that's setting this up. This has been teased for about a year now. They officially released a trailer. I want you guys to watch the trailer. It is fucking amazing. I am excited. The monsters look like they're straight out of the books. And if anyone does horror right, it's Guillermo. I can never pronounce his name right. Guillermo del Toro. It's going to be insane. So, Smoking, you love that book series and you're not sure about the trailer. Why not? Just out of curiosity, because I saw it and I started freaking out. The vibe feels right. Like I said, the characters feel right. Based on the trailer, the acting might not be there. I want to say it's not, but it might not. It's hard to tell from just a trailer. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see when these things start coming out. But I saw that and I got completely excited. I loved that series growing up again as a little director. And I am super stoked. Again, it's not terribly gaming related, but it is nerd culture related, especially for you horror buffs out there. Any other horror buffs besides me, by the way? Man, I'm going to have to get more coffee before I even start this fucking gameplay. Gonna have to get more coffee already. And then the final thing. So you're not a fan of the constant new need to remake old school things. You will watch it hesitantly because you love horror. Okay, so I don't necessarily blame you on that. I tend to have the same opinion when it comes to that kind of stuff. It's like, we don't always have to remake everything, but it's not really a remake. It's an adaptation, right? It's not like it's been made before. And again, Guillermo del Toro is the person to be able to take that and adapt it appropriately, because we all see how adaptations go fucking horribly, right? So, Death Note, phenomenal anime. Phenomenal. Top tier in my opinion. I loved it. And then Netflix did an adaptation that was absolute utter fucking garbage. Now, some people were complaining about it because they didn't understand what type of adaptation it was. They were complaining because L is black, and not necessarily just because he's black specifically, but because in the lore he's not. But that wasn't valid in my opinion. That type of criticism. The reason why is because it's an American adaptation of a Japanese anime, right? It's supposed to be set in America. It's supposed to be different with the same names and ideas, but it was just executed absolutely horribly, and I hated it. I thought it was trash, right? So some people were complaining about it for what I feel are invalid reasons, but that's an example of an adaptation done bad by a fucking, what do we call them? Director, not like me. I do everything appropriately in high speed, low drag, but a director that just didn't have it in him to actually take that and adapt it appropriately. It's not wrong to make that an American adaptation, but he didn't do it right, and it was trash. This one with Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, I feel is going to be done very high speed, low drag, and I am extremely excited for it. So you saw Resident Evil and couldn't sleep for a week. Never saw it. Like, wait, you talking about like a movie? I don't think I've ever seen it. Have I? Maybe I have. I don't remember. So you can never watch scary movies because you can never take them seriously. Well, that's the thing. It's kind of like heavy metal, right? It's all cheesy. Almost all of it is just cheesy as fuck. You got to suspend some disbelief to kind of get into some of these things. So a phenomenal example of horror on Netflix is The Ritual. I highly recommend it. One of the most creative horror movie monsters I've seen in a long fucking time. Good use of suspense, minimal use of jump scares. It was a phenomenal horror. I absolutely loved it. But I do understand what you're saying. There's a lot of horror when Datura and I are just like sitting on the couch and we're trying to find some good horror on Netflix. And you'll start like 5 or 6 of them. And you're like, dude, this is fucking retarded. This is stupid. I'm not interested. I don't want to see it. So I get what you're saying there. But for some of these things, you got to suspend a little disbelief and just get into the world. And if you do, you can have a good fucking time. Horror games fuck you up, though. Well, of course they do, because you're actually interacting with the world. A horror movie is just going to play no matter what. In a game, you're going to be sitting your ass there. And if you don't move, nothing will ever happen. Meaning it's all on you. It's all on you. You have to move and you have to press forward, making those games so much more immersive, and I love it. So, final piece of news here at the agency before we get going. It's some high-speed, low-drag tactical action coffee. Ah, so good. So this one, I'm sure you guys heard about this. This little shit stain, I'm not going to say his name. We don't use the names of shit stains here at the agency. The guy who swatted somebody, which unfortunately ended up with somebody not involved getting killed in a law enforcement standoff. This guy was actually went to his sentencing today and was sentenced to 20 years in prison. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, let me know in chat. I'll give you a little bit brief overview, but it was pretty big fucking news. Went down last year. He was officially sentenced to 20 years in prison. And I want to say, from your Director Code 3 and all my staff here at the agency, to that guy, fuck you. That guy's a piece of shit. I hope he rots in prison. And you know what? If he got killed in prison, I wouldn't really shed a tear. That guy is a vile shit stain. That trend, I guess, of swatting and putting innocent people in harm's way, putting law enforcement officers in those horrible fucking situations, is one of the most vile things that I could think of here at the agency. There's a list of vile fucking things, like being a goddamn terrorist. That kid is a fucking terrorist. And we're not going to use his name. Automatic timeout for anyone that does. Same thing for any kind of mass casualty incident. We don't talk about those people here because they're fucking shit stains and they don't deserve to have their name uttered. So the article's in Discord. I'm not going to post it in chat. I just want to say I'm happy the justice system worked on this little fucker, and I hope that he rots in extreme pain and misery in jail for those 20 years. And you know what? I hope he doesn't make it out. Fuck that kid. Now that I got off my little violent soapbox there,